Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Adventures of the Salamander Coast. This is the second episode in the campaign following the Adventures of the Salamander Coast. In my campaigns, I didn't elaborate on this in the first thing, so I figured I would go ahead and do it now. I typically do a session 0 where we talk about the campaign as a whole, what everybody wants to get out of it, what they want to see happen, what they don't want to see happen. And then in the session 0.5, before everybody is playing together, I do two separate 0.5 sessions. And in those sessions, the players are divided up into groups. So I'll have a group of 3 and a group of 2, or 2 groups of 3, depending on how many players there are. And then they each have their own little mini 2.5, 3-hour adventure, depending on how big the group is, to create some type of bond between those characters that weren't already there. So when they do finally start to play together, the players already have a little bit of a connection. However, before we do get into playing, you're also going to get to see the sort of pre-session talk that I have with my other players in this group to figure out some things before we get started playing, and see me introduce some items to them that are relevant to their characters and to probably the campaign as a whole. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So real quick, I want to go ahead and give you guys some items. They're not magical, they're just, or at least not initially magical. They are just special items to your character that would have been hand-me-downs or things that they just had. So Evan, I already gave you your father's journal, but you don't have that just yet. I just wanted to get it in your journal.
Okay.
Cecily has got, and I'm going to go ahead and put this just in your journal right now, Mark. You have a, called the Mother's Locket, and it is like a small golden book, and no matter how she's tried, she's never been able to get it open. But you know that it is a gift from your first mother. Like, it was the only thing that you have left of her. So that is for you. And then Cameron, Desmond O'Malley, you have got a heartbeat ring. So it's a golden ring with a rounded ruby jewel, and it like pulses like a heartbeat, just like that. Sometimes it matches yours, sometimes it goes a little faster, sometimes it goes slower. It's odd, but it is definitely most of the time that like 110 beats per minute that a normal heartbeat is. That Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. First I was afraid. I was petrified. Okay. So, there is that. So those are the items that your characters have on them. Now, throughout the campaign, these items will reveal different things, or they will react in different ways to the environment, or yada yada yada. It is just a thing that kind of grows with your character a little bit, which, I don't know, when coming up with them, it intrigued me a little bit to have something that adapts with you. So, we got that, and then, let's see, what else is there? Okay. So this session 0.5, it is important to know that it will kind of be taking place before your character's inciting incident a little bit. Obviously, all of you are in Water's Wake. All of you start in Water's Wake, but the campaign starts in Summer's Rest. So, in order to get you there, we need to do a little bit before your inciting incident, to sort of give you that forward momentum out of Water's Wake towards Summer's Rest. So we're going to be doing that today. So there will be a little bit of backstory stuff, and when really deep backstory stuff comes up, that's when we'll go ahead and swap to the secret channel, so that way none of that is revealed to the other players. However, the last thing we need to do before we start and actually play is all of you, you need to figure out how the three of you know each other. Because the thing is, the three of you, in order to make this work, and I tried to think of different ways to make it work, but the way that this needs to pan out is, before we even get started, the three of you need to know each other and get along. And there can be kind of like the shitty get along, like little brother, big sister, or vice versa. Like, that is fine. But obviously, your three characters, some more than others, are at least a little introverted maybe, or are distrusting of other people. So somehow the three of you need to be on the basis where if you had to leave, they would probably be one of the people that you go to, because you don't know very many other people, or you needed someplace to go, you could go to them. So you guys can talk amongst yourselves real quick and figure that out. I'm okay with anything you come up with. That's just something, that's the end goal you need to keep in mind.
Are both of your guys' characters like from Water's Wake, or are they just like visiting right now?
I am not from Water's Wake.
Okay.
I've only been here like maybe like a month or two, probably.
All right.
I have been in this area pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
I don't know about specifically from Water's Wake, but definitely around. Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. So my character did grow up like specifically in Water's Wake his entire life, and he's worked at his dad's I guess his blacksmith shop. And so I don't know if there's some tie in there that we can have.
Well, just putting this out there now, if I met either of you before, it is probably because I tried to scam you or steal something.
Okay.
Honestly, probably same.
But I have a disguise kit, and Cecily doesn't necessarily try to like become other people, but she's gotten very good at playing to people's sympathy. So I might have come to you as an air quotes dying older sister, just needs 3 more copper to take care of her baby brother or something. Or I might have just, like, I noticed that you got bread for lunch and just taken it when you weren't looking and run away. Yeah, that's the shit she does to buy, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if either of you would have been in need of a weapon, but you probably would have stopped by my dad's shop for a weapon, or you could have stolen stuff, or I could have given you copper for your little brother. Because my character would totally do that.
I think what I think is really funny is, what if Cecily was trying to steal something from Poe, and then Desmond saw Cecily doing this and made it his goal to do it first.
That's
we all just
good.
met at that moment.
That's good. So
So does that help connect us, or does that help?
Well,
I think the issue there is that, I mean, I don't know how Poe would react to that, but it seems like it would more so cause a rift. Because my thing is, maybe I think respect in kind of a loose way, where perhaps, at one point in time, Desmond purchased a dagger from Poe. And, maybe Poe, while he was at the market, Cecily sort of tried to scam him, and then Poe was just nice and was like, oh, well, maybe it's not just copper. Let me buy you a meal to take to your sister so that way she can have, or your little brother. Just because, like, it doesn't the three of you coming together to get to Summer's Rest doesn't make sense if... And I know that I don't like phrasing it like this, but it's really, with how different these characters are, there needs to be a sort of, if you had no other option, you could go to this person and you could at least trust them a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's hard considering Desmond and Cecily, less so with Poe. But especially with you two because of what you've said, but you know, I think, oh shit, that's a lot of geese.
Well,
shit.
If it was apparent that you guys were kind of not good doers, like it would be kind of useful to me later, I think. And if any of you guys have ever been to Summer's Rest, that I feel like that would have been a discussion that would have been good to have. Like,
well, what if I came to you looking for food for my baby brother, and you were like, you noticed early on you were one of the most receptive to that game, and so I just kept coming to you. Mm-hmm. Now, you just kind of still believe it, and then at some point, you're gonna find out that I don't have a younger brother. But I could see being like, from Cecily's point of view, I could see her being like, well, okay, this person likes me for now and has provided for me for now. At some point, there's going to be the elephant in the room, which is that there's no baby elephant in the room. But before then, and then, I mean, as far as Desmond, like, what is your socioeconomic standing, Desmond?
Scraping by.
Okay. So
he does, he doesn't really do as much of like the scamming and stealing kind of stuff. He does a lot of like bar fights and bets and stuff like that. I think it would be funny if instead of buying a dagger from Poe, what if I went to him to try to get like fitted pieces of lead to slip into gloves so that I could be cheating at a boxing match?
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
And that's like, because Desmond's pretty puny, but if he had a piece of lead across his fist, I'm sure he could punch somebody out.
I'm sure we need to talk a lot to make sure that those lead gloves that you right would do the job right.
Then, like, maybe Cecily met Desmond once, and I tried to scam you, and then I realized that you not only were a little annoying, but that you didn't have anything to give me, really. I was just like, all right, well, guess I'll move on. But now, ever since then, I've seen you once in a while, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I think this...
I think Desmond has respect for Cecily's hustle.
Yeah.
I mean,
he definitely thinks he can do it better, but he has respect for it.
What are the chances of you guys running into each other at like the bar or something, doing bets and stuff like that? Like, what's the chances of like all of us seeing each other? I don't know how big Waters Wake is, but I'm sure that from the description of Waters Wake, when there's newcomers, it's pretty like probably tell when there's someone new here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And there's like one big tavern, because people don't normally come to like. They typically don't stay very long, and there's a larger inn that is on the edge of Waters Wake that kind of serves for people who don't feel comfortable sitting on top of water. But yeah, inside of Waters Wake, actually the one thing that I was thinking, that I kind of assumed for Desmond, just based off of how you had described, is like on top of those bar fights, like there are like fighting arenas, like bare knuckle boxing, or you know, even like non-lethal sparring. That I assumed that he was big into that.
Yeah.
Just to like prove that he can take on anybody. It doesn't matter how much bigger they are than him.
Yeah,
and
I think
feel
there's
like,
a lot here. We have like
I feel like Desmond definitely would have invited Poe to come watch him with his newly leaden fists at the arena.
oh, I would have wanted to see those lead fists work. I would take a lot of pride in that.
I guess this is probably, I don't know if this is up to me, but did Desmond get caught, do you think, Joe? Cheating?
Yes, but the guy who was in charge of it was okay with it.
Okay.
All he said is, I wish you would have told me. We could have made a lot more money. And, yeah, we'll hear more from that guy tonight. But, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I imagine Cecily, whatever taverns there are in this place, he probably doesn't frequent them, because I would think in her experience, as a young, small person, it's a really easy way to get into way more trouble than you bargained for. Like, you know, to get her ass kicked, or to get abducted, or to get everything stolen from her, or whatever. Whereas if you're just kind of out on the streets and somebody notices 15 minutes later that they're missing something, or whatever. But, like, you try to steal from someone in a bar, and then there's the off chance that they're, like, a mercenary or a criminal or very drunk and gonna make a dumb decision or whatever. You know, she just doesn't want to mess with that. But, but yeah, so she does, though, frequently spend the night in alleyways near bars because they, like, throw out food, and there's always, like, warm stuff and, like, nice smells coming from them. So if anything, maybe that. I should ask, though, Joe, where on the timeline are we? Is Bad Mom still alive?
Yes.
Okay. So I would not have done that too much. Maybe on nights where Cecily, like, it was after bedtime and her bad mom was asleep and she just didn't want to be in the house because she fucking hated it. So she would just come and wander around and then sleep near a bar and then stumble back home in the morning just to spend a few hours out of the house.
Yeah.
What a life.
Oh, yeah. It's
I really made such a dreamy character. This is what fantasy's all about.
Hell yeah.
I'm living the fantasy of hating everyone around you and having no one to support you and being a homeless teenager.
Hell yeah. Music's so bouncy to go with it, too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think with that, so all of you feel like, naturally, if your character had nowhere else to go, you would go to one of these three people.
Poe. Yep.
Yeah.
Poe.
Go scam Poe as soon as I needed to.
Okay.
I think all this makes sense. I feel good about it.
Okay. All right.
I think it's funny that Cecily is go scam Poe and Desmond is go get Poe to help you scam.
And
at
Poe
some
is
point-
I'm doing so much good for these people.
Yep, and at some point Poe's gonna be like, hey, I'm getting used. This is really, am I actually your friend?
Okay. So, I believe with that, we will go ahead and move from here to there it is. Here we go. All right, turn that down just a hair. So with that, all of that straightened out, we will now go ahead and get started. So, we start in Water's Wake. But more specifically, we start with Cecily. It is about 3-4 o'clock right now. You are just creeping out of the upstairs window, slowly shutting it behind you. You wish you could leave forever, but you know if you're gone for more than an hour or two, she'd be livid, and you don't want to know what would come after that. You know she has that party tonight, that she keeps calling it a gala or a gala or whatever, it doesn't matter. You know that she's throwing a party, so you have a little bit of extra time. So, you know that, well, you can spend a little bit of free time doing what you want today. So, you climb out of the window, drop down behind the house in the more decorated uppity district of Water's Wake. And the town is open to what you want to do. So, Cecily, as you are walking through the town, so much smaller beneath the gaze of everyone around you, what does Cecily want to do in her free time?
Step 1, window shop. Find something nice. Step 2, rob the necessary amount of money to purchase it. Step 3, walk into the store with proper posture. Pretend I had that money naturally and purchase it.
Okay, alrighty. So,
This is the routine.
you begin to try and move through the town as unassumingly as you can. You move to the mercantile district where you know that there are traders that come in with goods. And what valuable item is she looking for? A necklace, a ring, a dress, a scarf?
Well, she stopped worrying about her appearance years ago. I think, honestly, really good food. Her needs are short term, and Bad Mom's cooking is shit. She's just gonna try to find like an artisan loaf of bread or like sweet roll or something. Some hoity-toity like hipster coffee shop shit. I don't know, some like herb scented cookie thing.
Okay.
Whatever.
So walking around you move away from that more uppity mercantile district where they sell knickknacks and jewelry, and you move to the section where people prepare the fish, or where bakers live, sort of right on the edge of the water leading out to the rest of Berkala. And you get this whiff of sweet, sweet bread. And you can feel it just sort of shiver down your spine, that scent. And as you move closer, you realize it's not just bread, but it's practically this ultra sweet, covered in powdered sugar, light and fluffy, what would practically be a beignet. And they are smoking, and as the steam is rolling off them, you can see this pudgy man sort of with a sifter just sort of knocking the powdered sugar over, shouting out, trying to get people to buy these fresh beignets. And target acquired. Now you just decide you need to get the necessary money. Now these are expensive beignets. The man, as he's talking, he goes on and on about the special ingredients and all of the special sugar. You know, the sugar is imported from Carthage. It's extra special. 1 gold apiece. I know, don't shriek at the price, but it is very, very worth it. As he's peddling these beignets, and that's a lot of money. That's 100 copper, that's 10 silver, or the fabled 1 gold piece. You try not to pickpocket people who are too wealthy, as they tend to keep their coin purses closer, but you decide to get to work. It might take you an hour or so, but eventually you'll have the money necessary to purchase that sweet, sweet beignet. So, I'd like you to go ahead and make a sleight of hand check.
And plop that in there.
Ooh, okay.
Why it's with advantage. I should turn that off.
Yeah, go ahead and turn that off. But still, the first roll was a natural 20, so easy.
First roll.
enough. Starting off great. You don't want to spend too long doing this. You know how annoying it is to collect 98 copper and then he's sold out of beignets. You know what that feels like, and today's not that day. You decide to risk it. You find one wealthy individual and you prepare to take that coin purse. You don't know how much gold is in there, but you know it's gold, and you know that gold is good with that salesman. You move in. You yank as they're bending over to dust off some dust off of their boots, yanking the coin purse without them noticing, flawless. And as you're moving away, sort of sulking into an alleyway, you open it up, and you can see that this is your biggest haul yet. 15 gold pieces.
Oh my god. I'm gonna bite one just to be sure.
Yeah, and it's not chocolate, it is chink.
Alright. So I'm gonna just seal it up and do a little like foot dance, like and I'm gonna probably sprint my way over to Mr. Beignet, so I'm buying 3. I'm gonna buy 3 of them.
Okay, so you set down your 3 gold proudly, and he says, "Oh, I can see the little girl is hungry. Very good. Three sweet beignets coming right up." And he stacks them one on top of the other, folds them up in a nice cloth rag, and slides them over to you.
Eddie, I will rather rudely snatch them and run away. And
All right.
I'm gonna find a peaceful corner to unwrap them as if they are like holy text. Like I'm going to. I will treat this with much reverence.
Unwrapping, and that moisture and that smell and the warmth just unleash as if opening opening up and looking upon the lost ark. Just you feel your face begin to melt from the sweet aroma that is leaking off of these beignets.
All right. I'm gonna roll initiative against this meal and start taking bites.
Okay, you try to savor it at first. You try. But,
I fail.
oh, it is just so good, and just bite after bite after bite after bite until you are done with one, and then down with the second, and down with the third, just one after the other, like a wild animal devouring these light and fluffy, sweet pieces of bread, until you can feel like 3 was a good number. It's a good thing you didn't buy any more, because you feel pretty full. And you feel happy, even though you're sitting on a waterlogged plank next to a shaky, partially torn down house with the little bit of powdered sugar on the corner of your mouth. You lick it off, and you look up at the clear blue sky just as the sun is beginning to set, and you can't help but smile. If only you could eat beignets and look at a beautiful array of blues and purples and golds every single afternoon. That would be the life. However, as you look to the north, you can see storm clouds begin to gather, thunder and lightning very briefly being able to be heard off in that direction, just slightly, ever so slightly. Most of the time, storms coming from the north, they tend to fade out as soon as they hit the mountains, but this one seems to be more intense. You have a feeling that, well, maybe you should probably get home. You've spent quite a bit of time searching for just the right coin purse. You stared at the sunset for a little too long, and it's starting to get darker now. The sun is setting much quicker than what you're used to, and you start to panic a little bit. You can feel that knot in your stomach begin to form just slightly, and you know you need to get home, so you kind of dart up, and instead of taking the alleyways like you normally do, it's honestly faster just to take those sort of main streets and avenues back to the house, the estate, as Bad Mom likes to call it. And even thinking that, you just roll your eyes in anguish. You make your way through, sort of darting through crowds of people until eventually your shoulder slams into the stomach of, like, plate armor. And as you do, you kind of, like, are knocked down onto the ground, and the coins spill out in front of you, and you try and scatter them and pick them up, and as you look back up, you see this heavily armored man, definitely one of the organized military units of Clara. And as he looks down at you, and looks at the gold, and then sees the bag, before you even have a chance to sort of dart up and away, he grabs at your arm, and no matter how much you push or pull or try and get him off you, you can't. You can't wiggle your way out. By the time he's got your arm, he's got you wrapped up, and as soon as you hear his voice, "Cecily, you know you got to stop doing this." Captain of the guard, of course. He knows where you live, because this isn't the first time this has happened. He carries you back home, and at this point, the sun is completely set. Thunder and lightning and rain can be heard on the far side of the city, as it begins to spread across the town. As he knocks on the door, and it opens up, you can see Bad Mom. And you can see her smiling as that ballroom music begins to flood out of the house. And as she looks at the guard, the captain of the guard, she smiles, and then when she looks down at you, it turns into a scowl. The guard sets you down at the front door, and you can feel her yank and grab your arm, and you can feel her long nails digging into your skin. So I'm going to go ahead and add Bad Mom to your journal. So I think if I show that to you, it should just pop up for you, Mark. And you can see her in this makeup done so poorly. Her hair is frizzled and faded, and you can see her wearing clothes that she definitely rented. There's no way that she could afford that herself, trying to put on this symbol of high status, even though you know what she really is. She's a faker. She always has been and always will be. And you can see as she's dragging you with the nails digging so deep into your arm, you swear you almost feel yourself beginning to bleed. She walks into the main living room and she pardons herself from the party for a moment to take you upstairs. The music begins to drown out as she brings you to your room. She opens the door and kind of pushes you in with a shove. And you can see the ornate walls and scrolling on the doors means nothing to you. You know this is all a charade. And you feel disconnected. Like you're watching it happen from the corner of the room. For a moment, she runs through all the slanderous terms she's called you before, but then you snap back to your body after you tumble down the stairs as she begins to follow you down and shouting. So real quick, we're going to swap to the Secret Talk channel. All right, can you hear me?
Okay. Yep.
So, shouting pushes you down the stairs as you tumble back and sort of sprawling out on the floor, she begins to shout at you. Why did I ever think I could fix you, you disgusting little monster, you creature? I will never understand why your father... She stops herself. you pounce up and run at her. Hearing her say that, does she mean the man who she's married to, or your real father? You have no memories of him, but you can't. You need to hear more. You pounce up, run at her, and you're smacking, hitting her with all of your might, hoping to get something. And she just laughs as your weak hands slapping into her shoulders, chest, and stomach. She laughs and... Even if you were to get to Summer's Rest, you would never find him. You stupid little cunt. And before she's able to finish, a crash of thunder and lightning as the storm rages outside. So we're going to hop back to the other channel.
Your internship.
So,
Yeah.
thunder and lightning rages outside. Let's move to Desmond. Desmond, the sun is setting outside. You can see the storm clouds gather at the edge of the mountain, and you don't worry about it. You head in to the tavern, and you ready for your fight. You enter the arena, and ever since you've gotten those gloves, you've been unstoppable. You swirl around your opponent, dodging any attacks they throw at you, using their own weight and momentum against them. Another giant comes crashing down, and you know you'll get to reap your reward. The crowd cheers insanely. The Bronze Shiv! Small but mighty! And as they shout out and scream for you, you exit the ring. You know that this is going to be a good one. This is your second match of the night, where you have won time and time again, and you have one more up. And you think that it's just going to be your normal 10, 15 minutes of relaxation. But the rest of the locker room, per se, all of the other fighters, even the one that you just beat, he sort of stumbles in. There's this big man, half-orc, these sort of jutting teeth. He comes up, and one of them are actually kind of broken and only hanging on by a tendon, and he sort of slaps you on the shoulder, and he's like, "That was a good fight, Desmond. Where'd you learn how to swing like that? Broke my fucking tooth in half." Oh, and you see him kind of
I
like...
learned everything that I know on the streets.
Well, I'm gonna have to get some lessons. As you see him grab onto the tooth that's hanging by a nerve and just rip it off. "Here, as a present." And he hands you the tooth with the nerve still just kind of hanging on there. "You know what? I'm gonna need a few lessons from you. I'm tired of getting my ass kicked by someone almost a quarter of my size." Yeah. No hard feelings, though. Good fighting, hard punches. Slaps you on the shoulder. And
you.
as soon as he slaps you on the shoulder and he goes around talking to some of the other fighters, the door opens into this room. And there you see him, the man who organizes not only the fighting rings in Water's Wake, but also Summer's Rest and River's Pass, and almost every major city in Baclara. You see Investor Loskov. Go and show that to you. You see him in his fine doublet and trousers with a cape and a fine silk purple crevasse to complement his pale golden yellow complexion, pointed ears, and a cane shaped like the titular name of the Salamander coast, a winding dragon. As he taps twice on the ground, all of the other fighters leave the room, except for you. He points the cane up at you and he says, "No, you stay. Yeah? Yeah." And you and Investor Loskov have had a few talks already. About a week ago, when you were caught with those lead-lined gloves, you thought it was the end, but it added an interesting layer to the entire fight club. He rebranded you as the Bronze Shiv, small but mighty, which has become the chorus of your tenacity in the fighting pits. As the rest of the fighters leave, there's a small bit of melancholy that surrounds the room when it's just the two of you. He says, Desmond, I think I have a proposition for you. So, your pay, first of all. I'm sure you're interested to see how much you made after the previous 2 matches.
Of course.
And he snaps twice, and there's a heavily armored individual who walks into the room with a large bag and sort of tosses it to you. As you catch it, open it up, you can count about 45 gold. Yeah, that's all yours. Hold it, you count it, and can't help but get a little excited. And he says, Hey, that is what I like about you, Desmond. You are always willing to go the extra mile, morals aside, to earn a little bit of coin. So I have a proposition for you. Yeah? Yeah. You have become quite renowned in Water's Wake just in the past week. And, well, there are some investors, some not as powerful as me, but more wealthy than me. Well, they like your tenacity and they like the way you fight. They have other fighters they'd like to see win, ones they have a more personal investment in. So, here's what is going to happen. What you made tonight, you can make 10 times that amount. 450 gold. In one match. And you don't even have to win. All you need to do is throw the match. The third round, you will take a punch, you will be knocked out, and you will lose. And your career as a fighter in Water's Wake is over. But you have enough gold where you can go wherever you want. So, Desmond O'Malley, the Bronze Shiv, what do you say?
You want me to throw the match.
Correct. It is very simple. You know what? You are good man. You are obedient man. You'll do what Loskov asks, because you care about money, not morals. I don't need an answer, because I know you won't surprise me. And just so you know, I'm good for it. Snaps again, and a second guard comes in with a small chest and opens it up, and that is a lot of gold. A lot of gold. Shuts it. The two of you may leave. I would like to speak to him in person, alone. And I'd like you to join me in the Secret Talks channel. Are you in here?
Yeah.
Nice. Alrighty. So yeah, I forgot to move you there earlier. So as the two of you are sitting here, and he says, after the two other mercenaries leave, he says, so, on top of everything else, the gold, honestly, the gold, I know, might not matter as much to you. What I have instead is a contact in Summer's Rest who knows about your condition. They know, apparently, about your past. They know your name. They know who you are. So, if you throw the match, I give you who they are, where they are in Summer's Rest, and the gold.
And if I don't?
Inquisitive. Yes. If you don't, you're going to have to leave town regardless. As that smirk drops into a scowl. But, as the smile returns, I know you're not going to betray me. Right, Desmond?
Whatever. 450 gold and the name.
Correct. Well, I look forward to seeing the match.
I'm sure you do.
And he, with the double tap of his cane on the ground, the rest of the fighters begin to flood back in as you sit there holding your 45 gold, thinking about what else you might get. So, we'll go ahead and jump back in the other one. Alrighty.
The only thing...
So, from there... I keep interrupting the conversation, I know. Desmond, the rest of the fighters flood back into the room as you think and reflect. And you get ready for your third and final match of the night. As you enter the ring, it's just you alone for a moment, and then, of course, this final match is against the Iron Gut. And most of the time it wouldn't bother you, but this individual, this man who claims to be the biggest dwarf ever, who you're sure he's just a fat human, was the first person you beat with your iron gloves. And he told you after that fight, he knew that your gloves were weighted, and he knew that he would get his revenge on you for being a cheat and dishonest, a scaled-back loser. The bell dings. You know what you were requested to do, but now I ask, do you throw the match?
Oh, no. Not at all.
All right. So...
I want to beat the living shit out of this guy.
Okay, what was meant to be a 3-round match, after about 30 seconds, you... Well, what do? You've beat him before. You know his tricks, his games. How do you beat the ever-loving shit out of Iron Gut?
I want to... So he's a fat guy.
Yes. Fat guy,
so
maybe
I want to
5'10".
use his weight against him.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm ducking and dodging around, and I'm going to just pound into the back of his, knees and make him get on the ground and just, shove him down, and then just...
Okay, and then I will ask, how far are you taking... You don't want him to die, right? Or do you?
Within an inch of his life.
Okay, all right.
As close as I can get without falling off.
Okay, so you dart around behind him as he sort of looks to you as you dart right behind him, and then you can see him look out into the crowd, and just before you pound into both of the knees, you can hear him go, fuck, as drops down to the ground. You sort of roll around, lifting up your iron-weighted gauntlets to slam down on his head, and you can see him mouth the words, "Please don't." And you bring it down?
Of course.
And boom, you can see the blood splatter from the top of the head as he falls sort of limp and unconscious on the ground, sort of twitching a little bit. And the bell, ding ding ding, rings. And the crowd just goes fucking wild. Ape shit.
I'm going to do a celebratory scream and use my lightning breath into the air, just
oh, shit. So, thunder and lightning, you can hear it rattling and cracking outside. You shoot a bolt of lightning up, sort of yelling back up at the storm, matching its intensity, creating a hole in the roof, just blasting through as the rain begins to pour on top of Iron Gut's twitching body as it's slowly bleeding into the sand. around him.
Then I'm going to take off my gloves and just drop them on his head.
Oh!
And then walk out.
Dunk. And as you walk out, you can see... So are you walking to the locker room, or are you trying to walk out of the tavern?
I'm going to get my 45 gold and then walk out of the tavern.
Okay. So as you go into the locker room, grab your gold. As you turn to exit, you see Loskov come back in with 4 heavily armored individuals. Weapons, plate mail. And Loskov says, I asked you to do one simple thing. But no. You decided to be insubordinate, stupid little, and with that, there is this monstrous sound of thunder and lightning. And in that moment, your reflexes kick in, and you can feel the pulse of your ring begin to increase as well, matched with your own, as you sort of dodge and duck and dart around these 4 mercs, and Loskov knocking one into the other, tripping and landing on top of them as you jump around, slamming through the locker room door, into the fighting pit, and then out of the fighting pit outside, and you begin to run to the only place where somebody might be able to help. So, from there, we're going to go to Poe. Starting off early in the morning in your forge. Your blacksmith is interesting because it is a layered situation where while your shop is close to the edge of Water's Wake, closer towards the land, the shop where the weapons are on display and the forge are 2 separate parts. The shop is at the top level, but underneath is where the forge is, where there is fire to heat the metal, and there is a large container of salt water to quench it. There's also a rapid, incredibly fast stream that exists right near the pit of fire to sharpen any weapons, to give them that Anoa flair. And you are working with your father, as of the past 6 months to a year, have been the one in charge of doing the majority of the forging, learning how to use the hammer and the right way to sharpen and temper and quench the steel that you work with. And you can see your father, he, in the past year or so, he's really started to whittle away, where maybe 2 years ago, he would be the one in charge, and he would have so much more energy, but as of late, he just is weak. He has trouble breathing. Sometimes he forgets what time of day it is. And as you are working, tempering and quelching steel, trying to get the proper amount of folds before you go to sharpen it, he sort of grabs onto his chest as he's telling you something to do, something you already know that you're supposed to do, but he grabs onto his chest and he says,
Poe, my boy, I need to take a moment to rest. I'll be upstairs. Do you need any help finishing anything?
No, I don't need any help, but do you need help getting upstairs?
No.
and you see him kind of grab onto the wall and sort of steady himself and
This cough.
Father, I'm gonna walk up and help him. There's no way he's getting upstairs by himself.
and he grabs onto you and steadies himself and he says,
Thank you, my boy. Thank you.
Right.
Yes, I suppose I do need some help.
and you help him up the stairs, making sure the steel needed to sit in the fire for a little bit to get to that proper temperature anyway. You help him up the stairs back up to the shop, and he sits down and pulls out a small handkerchief and sort of dabs the corners of his mouth and tucks it back in his pocket. And he says,
Thank you, my boy. Please, the steel needs attended to. I can watch the shop up here. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask, all right?
I got it. Don't worry.
Gods. And as you make your way back down the stairs, you can hear the coughing fade, and eventually it does stop. And you make your way back down, and you spend the rest of the day working on this item that was requested rather recently. About 3 days ago, there was this strange green tiefling woman who had showed up. She requested a short sword. Nothing too crazy, but she was very specific about the dimensions and materials that she wanted it made from, and having been experienced in the forge and with some help from your father, you were able to create it quite efficiently and quickly. And just about at sunset, when the shop is about to close, you can hear the bell tring from upstairs, and you can hear your father say,
Oh, it is so good to see you, Rolius. It was actually, I think Poe might be close to being done with your blade.
And you can hear him sort of definitely talking louder than he needs to somebody who is probably only 5 feet away from him. And you can hear the green tiefling woman say, Oh, darling, if it's not done yet, that is totally fine. I just, well, I have quite a liking for you and your son. You are all just the nicest two I've met so far in my time here. And if it was done, I'd love to pick it up. And Poe, as you just get done quelching and sharpening the blade in the rapid next to your house, the short sword is done. So with that, would you like to go ahead and take it up to her? Or do you want to keep her waiting?
So, oh no, not in our shop. We like to get things done fast and on time for our customers. So I'm going to make sure that it's sharp. I'm going to properly prepare it, and I'm going to start heading upstairs.
Okay. So you make sure the same way that you do with all other ones, you have this like salted seaweed that you end up wrapping the blades in to really preserve that sharpness, encrusted with sea salt. That really helps. The sea salt is really more for the smell, as it gives it that more sea flair. But the seaweed is actually very helpful to preserving the sharpness of the blade, as most people don't have access to a water grinder. You take it upstairs, and you can see Rolius here. Go ahead and show that to you. Green skin, tattooed, very light and flowy clothing, as she says, Oh, Poe, my darling, it is so good to see you. Oh, is that the blade?
It is. Just came off. Here you go. It's all wrapped, and it's just as you asked for.
Thank you so much. And she takes the blade, and you can see her kind of unfold some of the seaweed to expose part of the blade and sort of traces her thumb against it just to test the sharpness, and it really just like butter. Oh my, this is really quite impressive. Thank you.
You really won't find anything sharper.
I believe you. Trust me. I really do. This is quite exquisite. You have taught your son well. I really cannot believe the... Well, I'm sure that my friend will greatly appreciate this gift. Sadly, this is my last day in Water's Wake. I'm very happy that you were able to finish the blade, but I sadly will need to be leaving, as I've got quite the journey ahead of me in order to, well, get them this blade in time.
Of course.
So,
if you're ever in Water's Wake, you should let us know what they think of it.
Oh, of course. I will be back as soon as I can to inform you what my companion thought of the blade. Well, Uber and Poe, I greatly appreciate everything you've done for me, especially in this quick turnaround. But, my darlings, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go now. For the hard work, and she sort of gestures out her hands. I'm not a shaker, I'm definitely a hugger, so please, bring it in, darling. And she grabs you and gives you a light, soft hug, and does the same to Uba. Definitely lighter. That thing you do with grandparents when if you squeeze too tight, you feel like you really could snap them in half. Where it's very very light, and she pats him on the shoulders and says, "And I'm sure that you'll be feeling better any day now. I bet any day now." He
Get out of my face. Last thing I want to do is get someone else sick.
as this like gross chunky cough as he pulls out his handkerchief and sort of rubs his cheeks and shakily puts the handkerchief back in his pocket.
Well, please, it's good to meet you, Rollius, but I'm afraid the shop is closing soon, and you need to get on.
And she says, yes, of course, I understand. Well, thank you both for your work. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to the next time our paths cross, and I promise you it will be much sooner than you think. All right. Well, much love to the both of you, and I look forward to our next encounter. As she sets the short sword on her shoulder and begins to move out as the door, pring, she leaves and slams shut behind her. And Poe, you didn't realize how long you were down there, as now it is sunset and it is dark, and sort of peeking out you can see the storm clouds beginning to roll over the mountain, the bit of thunder and lightning every once in a while. Not too bad yet, but it's moving quite fast. So you begin to move things around, clean up the shop, do the basic things you need to do in order to make it prepared for tomorrow. And you can see that even though it's fairly early, as your father is trying to help clean up, his eyes begin to lull, and he kind of falls asleep sitting down, or sometimes even standing up, just leaning against the wall. And so eventually you see him leaning up against the wall. It seems like he was getting ready to wipe down a counter, but he's just kind of sleeping, standing up, leaning up against the wall. When you want to wake him up?
Oh yeah, Poe's gonna wake him up.
I'm fine. I wanted to rest my eyes for a moment.
Yeah, and you did. But why don't you go and rest your eyes in your bed? I can finish cleaning up.
Yeah.
I don't want you to fall over resting your eyes.
Yes, I suppose you're right. My boy, I hate to ask, but is there any way you could help me to my room?
Of course, Father.
Thank you.
I'll help.
And you grab around his shoulders, and same way that you helped him up the stairs, you help him back to his room, which is on this main floor here. And you bring him into his room and sort of lay him down, and he, as soon as he hits the bed, he's just knocked out. And it's kind of crazy how only 3 or 4 years ago he had so much energy, nothing could stop him. And even a year and a half ago, he was a little bit slower, but definitely not like this. And as you look at him sleeping, every once in a while you get nervous when you don't hear a snore, but then eventually that gasp of air comes and a cough, and he seems fine. And you stare for a moment and you think, and you wonder when the last time he was able to wear his armor or even wield a sword. And it is a painful thought to have. But you bury that deep, and you begin to move out of the room, and there is a brief moment where there is this huge crash of thunder and lightning. And as you do, you freak out a little bit as you knock into like a small table at the side of a door, and it slams into this cabinet, and there's this pile of books that flood out onto the ground. And as you look back, thinking you might have woken your father up, he is still knocked out. And with that, I would like you to swap to the special channel. Ba-ba-ba. Hello?
Hello.
All right, cool. So, here we have... So as the books spread out, you try and start picking them up as quickly as you can, just to stack them up on top, hoping that he won't wake up in the time being. But then there's one book in particular that catches your eye. It is a old journal. And as you pick it up, there's no title, front or back, but there is... This is your father's handwriting. As you begin to flip through, the pages are in ciphers, in code, in different languages. And you always knew that your father was well-read and a learned man, but this is ridiculous. He was really something else. And most of it past the first couple of pages you can't even comprehend, but the first few pages are... Well, they make your stomach twist a little bit, because you read about how maybe 8 years or so ago he talked about taking this contract. This special blade that needed to be forged in the sunken temple of Astitia, the primordial titan of water. How finding that temple could lead to the greatest blade ever forged from this type of blacksmithing. And you read about how he could never leave home because of you. And how you know there's only 2 years left. And there's something here that the terms of the contract, it's a little fuzzy, but you know that if he's able to complete the contract, that there will be more wealth for your family and your heirs to come than you know what to do with. But if you fail, it means the end of the Anoa name and your way of life. It's not just a loss in investment, it is a being burned from the history books. You think about what those implications are, and you know that he would never ask for your help. I mean, he struggles with asking for your help to get up the stairs. Something this important, this dangerous, perhaps? You look up at your father's sleeping body and back down at the journal, and you know what you need to do. You take the journal, you run to your room, you stuff it in a pouch with some rations, some supplies, you run down to the forge, you grab the hammer, and you take one last look in your father's room. And there was one part in that journal. You only have one heading, but there was something about a person in Summer's Rest that might have information on this forge that he was never able to get a hold of. However, as you get back to his room to take one last look, I want to ask you, do you leave a note? Or do you just leave?
I would definitely leave a note.
Okay. And are you just honest?
I feel like even if I was honest with the state that he's in, I'm not sure that he even knows the full implications for the consequences for not completing this contract anymore. And so I would make up a story, and I'm not exactly sure what story that would be, but perhaps it is that I am I don't know. I don't know exactly what I would say, and maybe I would struggle to come up with something to say because I've never left Water's Wake before. We've never had a reason to, and you know what? I think I would not leave a note. I think instead, I would want to find someone to take care of him, and maybe that's something I do. I leave a note for someone to watch over him. I mean, we've been here for Water's Wake my entire life. There's at least someone who would.
Oh, yeah. You instead sort of jot up a note where normally you have to wake your dad up. But there is one person every. Let's see here. So every Friday, there is somebody, a man who you've grown to trust, who delivers your supplies for, metals that you might need, Darren. And Darren comes every single Friday, and he has for the past 15 years. Him and your father were close friends for a time. Not for a time, but they've been close friends for a while. So if there was a day for that, that would be the one.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do. And outside of that, I think jeez. You know what? I think I would write him a letter. I think I want to do both. I want to talk Darren into watching over him because I do have to leave. Maybe I'm a little bit more honest with Darren that there's a contract that my dad has to fulfill. And maybe that's something that I tell my dad too. There's a contract that came in and it could really help the shop. And it requires me to go to, I'm not sure. I'm serious, I'm not sure, because this is like a long journey that I'm going to be gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, hold on. He's not in a state, I think, where he could truly understand. I think that Darren's probably the only one who knows exactly my dad's situation, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to talk to him. I just want him to take care of my dad, and I think I'm not going to leave a letter.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
So as you're sort of looking down and thinking of what to say, maybe leaving a letter, maybe not, you decide to not leave a letter. You make your way upstairs and you open the door to Water's Wake, and seeing the dark and stormy area all around you, rain pouring, you lock the door behind you and you turn around and you see two familiar faces, and that's where we're gonna go ahead and jump back.
Gross, because it's
Hey,
sweet.
we're back. All right.
Yeah.
So, Poe, rain pouring, you know what you need to do. You have the journal, you have the hammer, some supplies, and you leave the blacksmith shop, locking the door behind you, and as you turn around, you see two familiar faces. Cecily and Desmond arriving at the house at weirdly the same time. You sort of look to one another, confused, and both of you try to hide the fear that is kind of bubbling up and the confusion and anger that both of you are feeling. And as the two of you stop to look at each other, you look back and you see Poe quietly closing the door and locking it behind him. And as he turns around, the three of you look at each other. You can see his bags packed, and you, Desmond, Poe, can see the two covered in rain, completely soaking, drenched. What would the three of you like to do?
Now is really not the time to be asking me for favors. I'm kind of in a rush.
Okay, well, look, so, my little brother, right? My little brother is, he's only got a few days left, and I think that, if I just, okay, Summer's Rest, have you heard of that place? That place, it's close, isn't it? I think it's pretty close.
Yes, it is very close. Are you trying to go there?
Yeah, well, look, I gotta go there for something. I gotta, to get something for my little brother in Summer's Rest, and I just I don't have the money, I don't have anything to get there, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and you're one of the only people that has ever helped me with any of this. I don't know what the fuck you're doing here, Desmond, but I guess you're hearing about this now. But listen, just anything you can give me. I think I could do with something, a meal,
Here,
some
just-
coins, just.
It's fine. I'm actually leaving for Summer's Rest as well. How about we just go together? I got plenty of.
Okay.
I think I have plenty of coin to get us. Who knows? But Desmond,
I just had an early retirement from my fighting career, so if I could join you guys, that would be pretty good too. I'm kind of being run out of town at the moment.
okay.
Okay, no, this is not. No. See, that's not what I signed up for at all. I'm not gonna join some. Like, fuck. What? What are we just gonna go on a road trip together? That wasn't the plan.
Okay. Well, listen.
Get me there myself. I'll be fine.
I need to leave tonight. I'm going tonight. You're either coming or you're not.
Fuck. Okay, look, there's trouble following me too, and you don't want it, okay? So if you can just, like, give me directions or some money or something, I can...
I'll tell you, I'll give you 3 gold to get out of our hair. I mean, figuratively, but yeah. And we can go to Summer's Rest, and you can go wherever, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Why are you here again exactly? What did you do?
Like I said, I just had an early retirement to my my fighting career, and
bull fucking shit. Okay, look.
well, it's true. Yeah, I have angry men with armor and swords after me.
Great. What trouble is following you, Cecily?
Okay,
So as the three of you are standing in front of the blacksmith shop, sort of shouting back and forth, or like a shouting whisper back and forth at one another, trying to figure out what is happening, you can hear bells. Ding, 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 echoing back and forth in the city. You can see small pillars of light near where those bells are stationed that begin to light up, and none of you are exactly sure what that means.
okay, that sounds bad.
What does
That
that
sounds like
mean?
it could have something to do with me.
Okay. All right.
I don't care who's coming, but I need to get out of town.
Yes. Me
You
as
know,
well.
fuck. I guess I'm supposed to leave right now, too. I don't know. Look, just...
Do we need to stop and get your brother?
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's nobody's after him. They're just after me, and he'll be okay. Look, if we could just get out of the borders and then talk about this. Okay? Does that sound good with everybody?
Yes, that's fine. I do, however, need to leave a note with someone before I leave.
Hey, well, hurry the fuck up, I guess, because bells are chasing us now, I guess.
Let's go.
Okay, so you know, Darren only lives a block away. He does not live very far away, and he lives actually on the way out of Summer's Rest because he lives closer towards the mountains, a little bit out of the way of the town, closer to the outskirts of it. So you make your way out towards Darren's house, and you see the small shack. You see an oxen cart sort of set up off to the side, tied to the house. What would you like to do? Leave a note?
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave a note. I'm gonna slide it under the door.
Okay, so scribbling it out, writing down what's happening, what you need him to rip it out of the journal, fold it up, and slide it under into his house. So with that, the three of you, unless there's anything else you want to achieve in Water's Wake. Nope.
Nope, let's go.
Okay. So all of you move out of Water's Wake, and you begin to head towards the temple, which then in turn leads to Summer's Rest, the goal. So, movie there. So, rain still pouring, nighttime, you all make your way, trudging through mud and darkness, and eventually, after a good 5-6 hours of walking, the silence being at least a little unbearable, eventually you get to the temple, and this temple in particular does not charge for room and board, only for food, for those, unless someone is really needing. So you're able to get into one of the parts of the temple where there are bedrolls and cots laid out, and you're at least able to get out of the rain and fall down and sleep. So, eventually, the storm fades, and you awake in the morning, the three of you kind of in your own little corner of this temple. What would you like to do?
So, sorry, I didn't catch this. Is this nighttime?
No, you guys got into the temple, and then after all of that walking and all of the danger and intensity, you just kind of passed out once you finally got into the cots and bedrolls. And now, waking up in the morning, in the temple, what would you like to do?
I am going to sneak away and find a private place outside somewhere and see if I can make magic happen again.
Okay.
Because at this point, it's been entirely accidental.
Okay, so, let's see here. Alrighty, so you just kind of... well, let me ask you. Do you want to do something... Are you trying to do something malicious or something not malicious?
Don't know. I mean, all I know is that lightning came out of my hand, and I want to see if I could just make that happen again.
Okay, so you sort of looking down at your hand and just sort of being outside now surrounded by the wilderness, you just kind of reach your hand out and you try and focus, and with a little bit of there's a small discharge. Not nearly what happened last night, but a small discharge of electric energy. And you could tell that if you were holding on to somebody, that would be deadly.
Fuck. So I'm gonna... I don't know, I guess... So she's gonna probably just pace in circles and swear a bunch for a little bit. And then I'm gonna try it again, and then I'm just gonna try to do other stuff. And I told you a little bit about the thing where, like, I want Mark to pick spells, but Cecily to not know what they are yet.
Yeah.
And for them to just kind of happen. So I'm gonna say that he keeps doing Shocking Grasp, and then eventually at some point she accidentally does Poison Spray. And it's like, okay, well that's different, and then pace around and swear a little bit more.
Yeah, you kind of coat the different bushes and flowers in that immediate, like, cone, and they just wilt and die.
And then I feel bad. Then, yeah, so I have Shocking Grasp, Poison Spray. I have Dancing Lights and Mage Hand, and I might just save those. Okay. And then first level spells, I have Color Spray and Jump, and I'll just save those too. But, yeah, so she just knows that she can shoot lightning or poison gas out of her hands now. And no idea why. A shocking discovery to make.
Okay.
And, I guess, I mean, eventually I'll come back and I'll try my best to act like nothing's going on. And I'm still worried about my baby brother, I guess.
So as
But
Desmond and Poe, you two are waking up. You can see Cecily just kind of trying to quietly move in, but the two of you see her move in. She definitely did not just wake up. She's probably been awake for a while. But the two of you just wake up, damp but not wet anymore. Inside, what's happening?
I want to snatch up my gold purse and make sure that there's still 45 gold and that Cecily didn't take anything from me because I don't trust her.
Well, there is 42 gold because the previous night you threw 3 gold at her. Yeah.
Good. And then I would like to do my daily workout morning routine of push-ups and pull-ups and shit if I can get away with doing that in this space.
Oh.
Gotta keep the fitness.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's not too crazy. They're not like the people the priests and priestesses at this temple. It is definitely more of it's a combination of natural and the traditional prime deities, where like the people of Palor and Arathis, while they are worshipped here, there's more open air, where it's almost like a field of shrines with several enclosed areas and buildings for travelers. So, yeah, easy enough. You're able to go outside, sort of do those push-ups, do those pull-ups, and get that morning routine in without it being an issue.
Gotta get them gains.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Real quick, make a strength check for me.
Maybe if I left.
Boom. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
If my laptop.
Yeah. Cameron froze for me.
My lap.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
is he alive? Cameron, are you alive? I don't know. Well, dang.
All right. So, while he is doing his routine, Poe, you wake up, see Desmond count his coins, and then leave to go work out. Seeing Cecily just getting back, what are you doing?
Well, the night before, I was pretty protective of my stuff. It was storming, and I really did not want to get any water on my dad's journal. And I've been kind of having a lot of trouble sleeping at night because I've been wanting to read it, but things were way too wet to crack that thing open. So I'm pretty excited to open that up this morning. But beforehand, when Cecily walks in, I guess I just ask her, how's it going? Like, have trouble sleeping or anything? Worried about your brother? What's up?
I was taking a fucking piss. Don't worry about it.
Cool. So I'm gonna crack open my dad's journal.
Okay, so as you crack open the journal, Desmond, you go into it with so much machismo, and just you decide you're gonna I'm gonna go hard today. I'm gonna not stop until and as you go up for the first push-up, you feel that you pushed up way too hard, and you can feel something in your shoulder kind of bend and go a little tense, and you just kind of drop onto the ground, and it takes you about 5 or 10 minutes to get feeling back in your arm, and you're not sure what exactly happened to you right there. It's freaky as hell, though. So,
How do you turn off the initiative, or the advantage rolling?
oh, go to your character sheet. Whoa. And then go to settings, the little cog. And then you want roll queries on the right-hand side It's right underneath NPC.
Oh,
Hit advantage toggle, and then you want to do whisper toggle as well for whisper rolls to GM, just in case I ever need you to whisper something to me.
Okay.
Yeah, they are really funny first two rolls. Okay. So, Poe, you crack open the journal, and you begin to try and read and decipher some things. And I'd like you to go ahead and make an intelligence check. Oh.
Do you just
No. Oh, there he is.
do you just click like the actual intelligence thing, or do you?
Click the word intelligence.
I was reflecting.
Oh,
God.
Man. Holy shit, what is happening?
All the luck went into that first roll. I hope it was worth it.
What a funny.
So I did take the lucky feat.
Alright, manage toggle. Whisper toggle. There we go. Okay, so Poe, you open up the journal and you begin to read through it, and you try and decipher what you're looking at, but I mean, you keep thinking back to what Cecily just said. She took a piss? That, for one, why was she so aggressive about it? And you're like, okay, never mind, I'm not going to think about it. And then you go back to the journal, and you're like, did I do something wrong to make her upset? And, okay, and you can't, you keep going back to it. And yeah, you keep coming back to it, and eventually you can't focus on it. And you feel like, at least right now, you're not going to really gain anything from it.
Close it and put it away.
No, Cameron. I don't know, maybe here, let me try this. Oh, well, now I can't see anyone either. Oh, wait, there we go. Oh, there's Evan. Hi there, Cameron.
Hey, Joe. And I don't see anyone else.
Okay. Here, real quick.
Maybe let's all reconnect.
Yeah, here. Evan, right-click on somebody's, like, name at the bottom, and then just hit reconnect all.
Okay, I see Cameron.
All right, there we go. Hey,
Okay,
alrighty. So,
Hello,
All right.
everyone.
eventually, Desmond, you come back after your workout. Did you hear what happened?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I was just making sure. So you come back and you're kind of like stretching your shoulder out, just trying to get all that feeling back as you eventually make your way back into the small little alcove the three of you have inside this temple. Desmond, sort of frustrated, shuts this leather-bound journal he has, slams it back in his pack, and three of you are just sitting there. So what's the plan? What are you doing?
I guess I guess with Water's Wake being so close to Summer's Rest, we all kind of know the direction to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like I'm gonna ask Cicely, who are you looking for? What are you hoping to find in Summer's Rest to help her?
Well, I just had somebody tell me there was a lead there. That's all. So, just wanted to check it out.
Cool. Well, sounds similar to why I'm going. There's someone there that may know more about a contract that my dad took on a few years ago. It's very, very strange, but I really need to look into it.
Interesting.
So Desmond, how do you feel about Summer's Rest?
I can do Summer's Rest. There are things that I could do there.
Cool. Well, I guess there's really not a lot of time to waste. Unless you guys want to hang out here longer, I think we should get going.
Hey, what kind of place is it exactly?
Well, I personally have not been too far out of Water's Wake when I have left it, so I haven't been there before, but I've heard a lot of crazy stories about Summer's Rest.
Uh,
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure what to expect. Every time I hear a story about it, just imagine something entirely different.
so, is it a place where crazy people could blend in?
From the sound of it, yes. You'll be right at home.
Fucking cool.
All right, I'm gonna pack my stuff and maybe look and see what the food options are at the temple before we go, and then head out.
Okay. So at the temple currently, the free meal that they're serving is a very watered down, like, potato and leek soup that you've never had before, but you can only assume it tastes like salt and water. Which for you might not be that bad, but for other people it might be a little worse. They do have other food there that, for a copper or a silver, is a little bit more hearty, sort of like a beef stew with carrots and celery and potatoes and meat, and a really thick, hearty broth. That's like the paid-for meal as opposed to the free one.
Well, having worked at a shop my entire life and kind of being the entrepreneur replacement for my dad, I'm going to go with the free option and save some money.
Okay, so you stand in line for about 45 minutes to get leek and potato soup. And it is definitely those three things with a lot of salt. And it is filling in the way that it's food, but it doesn't taste good. It doesn't feel good. It just fills you up, so that way you're not hungry. And that's about all it does.
You guys should try it. It's pretty good.
I will try some.
Desmond is pretty fucking gross.
I've not eaten many things in my life, to be honest, but this might be the worst one.
Yeah, well, I could probably top you, but... Cecily's probably gonna try not to eat it for a while. Just out of, like, I don't know, just some weird contest she's invented in her head where she's like, oh, I can't let them know I'm hungry. But then eventually she'll give in and she'll have some of it. And it probably isn't the worst thing she's had.
No.
But I'm sure it's bad.
It is, yeah. It is. It is not as bad as the burnt black garlic lamb chop that she tried to make that one time. But it's definitely not as good as the beignets. Definitely nowhere near as good as the beignets.
Lamb to beignet, what are we looking at?
Sorry, from what to what?
If burnt lamb is a 1, those beignets are a 10.
Probably a 3.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Might as well be eating charcoal. Oh my god.
Might be better, honestly.
Has a little bit of a smoky flavor, you know.
Yeah. So
Well,
you eat the soup, it's not good, but it's filling, and you are full. So,
good.
enough food for the rest of the day. The three of you get up from your small lodgings and head towards the road that leads north to Summer's Rest. However, as you get there, you can see a line of people. And you can see there are a few armored guards in the heraldry of Summer's Rest, sort of bright yellows and deep browns that are striped and crossed and enameled onto their armor as they begin to talk, and they shout out, a new mandate from the mayor of Summer's Rest. No
travelers are permitted unless they are accompanied by supplies and a cart. There have been quite a few hooligans and troublemakers who've made their way in, so the mayor requests that only merchants and people of a higher stature be allowed to visit the city for at least a week as we straighten the mess out. Once again, for those who have not heard it for the 15th time, and you hear him just keep rattling on that same sentence about how in order to get to Summer's Rest, you need to have a cart of goods or be able to pay.
Okay. Well, higher status is not me. Anyone else higher status? Oh.
Well,
I can fake it.
can you?
Oh.
Oh, I can.
Right. If we're gonna fake it,
You killed Dragonborns? It's pretty neat, actually.
well, okay.
I
Look,
have
I'm not gonna.
my-
If we're gonna fake it, then I might as well do it. Just saying. Been doing it a while.
As have I.
Well, I'm sure you do fine.
Well,
I'm gonna go through my pack. I have fancy clothes. I'm gonna put it on, and then turn around. Hello, friends. My name is Torda Udamash. I am a Dragonborn of the highest degree, worshipper of Bahamut. Thank you very much.
we are not doing that. Okay, listen, I have my dad's hammer.
Oh, you're really
I it was very good. I think that could work, but I don't think listen, let's just try and do this the right way. I think that, I have my dad's hammer.
God.
I think we could pass off being merchants. I just need a few materials, a few other things. I have a smithing kit with me. We're just a traveling group.
cart.
Oh,
You guys
oh,
are.
Oh, don't tell me I got stuck with one of these right way sons of bitches. Oh my god. You want to do this the right way? It's so fucking boring. Listen, if you need me to steal a cart, I've never done it, but I think I can figure that out too. Okay? So you can...
If anyone's stealing the cart, it's gonna be me, Cecily.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have 29 years of fucking cart stealing experience?
No,
Is that
but
what you
I've
were
done it
doing?
a time or two. I've done it a time or two at least.
Guys, 29 years of card stealing compared to 20 years of blacksmith apprenticeship. I think, guys, I'm just serious. We can do this the right way. I think we should do it the right way. Just help me find something that can pass us off as a merchant. I can just put my stuff on there and we can make this work, I promise.
Alright, fine.
He said we needed a cart, that's all I'm saying.
What if we just, what can we look like we're selling?
So, Joe, I have a smithing kit.
Mm-hmm.
I have that hammer. If we can find, I can't ask you this. We have to try it. But do you think that what's in that smithing kit would be enough to fill up a cart to make it look like we're traveling smiths?
Maybe traveling merchants in search of supplies to craft. Definitely a merchant's cart full of blacksmiths' supplies, would probably have a few crates of materials and maybe a few weapons. So
I could take my armor off and give you my dagger and have it just be in there and something. Pretend that you're selling it.
All right, let's what's around us? Is there any abandoned carts?
make a perception check.
Hey, look, a cart.
You guys are actually already sitting in it. Okay, so while
Hey.
it doesn't seem like there's any abandoned carts, you can see a cart maybe 50, 70 feet away from you right now that doesn't have a driver, and it looks like there's a blanket over the back of it. So it's a cart full of supplies, and nobody is next to it right now.
Let me steal it.
I would like to, without asking, peek under the blanket and see what's there.
So you make your way over, and you look underneath, and there is just stacks and stacks of dried and stretched leather.
Cecily, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm using my eyes. Have you ever
What
used
the-
your eyes? This is how
what
you
if-
do it.
What if the owner comes back and you're snooping on it, and then we all get arrested, and then I can't even do the thing that I need to do? I didn't come here to get arrested. Especially,
look.
You know, for one time, I think that stealing the cart is the way to go, and I think doing it the right way is a big pile of bullshit, and we should just take the cart and be on our
okay.
merry way.
Look, I'm starting to see both sides. Okay, I think we shouldn't steal. Obvious, if anything else. But if we can steal something, and I can make it look, then I think we're in. I've done a lot of stuff like that before. Once I took about 12 rocks from a nearby stream, and I got some purple pigment, and I said that they were magical healing stones. So those about 8 silver each. That was a good week. So if anyone finds any rocks and paint, pull that trick again.
I got a pouch full of rocks.
Something a little bit more valuable and meaningful out of rocks.
Well,
All right.
it's all about the trick, though, right? That's what it's all about.
Okay.
Look, Poe, I know you're probably thinking about morals and whatever, but if you could just stop for a second. Edmund has a bag full of rocks.
Truthfully, abandoning your morals opens up a lot of possibilities, Poe. I think you need to try it.
Man,
All right, you guys.
Remember when
I'm
maybe the lead
not.
glove?
I'm not going to be involved. I'm just going to follow and keep my hood up and hope to God that if we do get caught, they do not think I'm associated with you guys. And I'm just 2 steps away from being like, oh no, he's not with them, and just like a few steps close enough where if it is a good thing, they're like, oh yeah, he is with them. You know what I mean? Just
That's all we're asking. Just
yeah. No, I've
stand there
pulled
with
that move before. That's a good move. Do that move. Okay. Now, Desmond, is there something we can do to these rocks to make them look special?
Well, I do.
is there a stream nearby, Joe?
A string?
A stream?
Oh, a stream, yeah. Yeah, there's actually, all along the path, there is actually a really, really long river that feeds down from Summer's Rest all the way down around the mountainside to Water's Wake.
All right. While they're trying to figure out what to do with the rocks, I'm gonna, like, I have my foot up. I'm already like trying to hide myself because I already know they're starting their mischief. But once I hear them talking about it, I kind of come up and grab the bag of rocks and head towards the stream. And I want to try and use my dad's hammer that I took to try and make something. Kind of. Is that possible?
Yeah, sure.
A little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and make a Smith's Tools check for me.
Oh man, how do I do that?
So there should be a...
Smith's tools.
Yeah. Oh, here, let me edit this real quick. Proficient query attribute. Whoa. Strength. Right. Yeah. Actually, no, it would be wisdom. There we go. Alrighty. So, I'd like you to now go ahead and click on Smith's Tools, and it'll just... Yep, there we go. Okay. So, you take some of the rocks, and you begin to wade them in the water, and just slowly, with the opposite end of the hammer that's closer to like a chisel, just begin to slowly tap. And you have about 5 rocks in your hands, and you break 2 of them. However, 3 of them, as you pull them out of the water, they are just glowing slightly.
All right, Poe. I can pedal that.
It's the best I can do right now. Just like I said, I'm just gonna stay behind, and that's it. And I'm gonna give you back the rocks, I guess. Make as many of them as shiny as I can.
I've worked with worse. Hey, I can now, with Desmond's rocks and Poe's shiny, I can use my disguise kit, and I shall attempt to make myself look like a merchant of some kind who's not a dirty 15-year-old street kid.
Okay.
That's really my only hope. That's my only aesthetic choice. Not a dirty 15-year-old street kid.
Gotcha.
And I would like to appear as a merchant selling special gemstones to the distant tribe of Gafalupad. And I will make up a story about Gafalupad if they ask.
Okay, so you make your way up to the guards, and you, as you have the rocks in your hands, Desmond, are you standing close to her, or are you taking the same strategy as Poe?
I'll stand close to her.
Okay, so Dragonborn standing to your side, your mysterious bodyguard maybe standing about 5 feet behind you. You approach the guards, and they sort of raise up a hand as the one who was in the middle of the sentence says, all right, stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Are you wanting to get to Summer's Rest then?
Yep. Trying to get in there. I'm a merchant. How the fuck you be? You want to see these rocks?
I'm not interested in buying, but, I think that, are you wanting to sell them in Summer's Rest?
That'd be the idea.
Do you have a cart of them too, or just those
No, this
3?
is just what we got for now.
We actually got ransacked by bandits on our way over here. Our cart was taken.
Oh. Go ahead and make a deception check. I'll say with advantage because you have Cecily's assistance right now.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
The guard looks to the 2 of you, and then Poe kind of looks behind you, and crosses his arm against his chest, and looks to the guard. Jezeri, what do you make of these 3? And the female guard standing to his left says, you know, I'm not particularly sure, but I think they might be charlatans. That sounds correct to me. And you 3 know that peddling false goods and lying, especially in a situation like this, is a punishable offense, correct?
You dare question me, a dragonborn, a loving good, doing all the things that I can?
Make a religion
As
check.
Bahamut as my... What'd you say?
Make a religion check with disadvantage.
Oh no.
There is a moment where you almost forget Bahamut's name. You're like, Baphomet! No, Bahamut! And the two guards, they look to each other. And the female guard looks back down at you and she says, you know what? It's been a fairly boring day, so, you know what? I'm fairly thankful I've had this opportunity. And as she is about to, like, go and grab you, Cicely, there's a voice from behind you. It says, oh, sorry. Those are my, helpers. They're my stagehands. They tend to get a little carried away with their, next big thing that they're coming up with. I'm teaching them the basics of entrepreneurship as so important in our culture here, and well, sometimes they just get carried away. They meant no harm. They're with me. Druin Lethrite. And I'll go and show, and you turn around and you can see this man with scars on his face, a very attractive man, longer hair, a bit of a scraggly but kind of well-trimmed beard, wearing very fine clothes and different amulets and necklaces, and he raises a hand and says, they're with me. We're actually leather traders. They help me catch different animals and help me in the skinning and boiling of the leather. I'm taking these supplies, and you can check, and I have all the manuscripts and codexes necessary, but we're heading up to Summer's Rest as we hear they're in need of some better, lighter leather armor. So I once again apologize greatly for their missteps, and I hope you'll forgive their transgressions. And the two guards, they look to each other, and he's going to go ahead and make a deception check. That's a 22. And the two guards, they look to each other, and the female guard, all right, well, how about just next time you keep a better eye on them? They were about this close to be thrown in jail, so next time, just make sure they don't get too carried away, and make sure that they at least know what lies they're trying to tell before they start to tell them. And the two of them, they kind of part, and he says, all right, team, let's go ahead and hop in the wagon then, right? Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks
Very
for
good.
showing up. Yep.
Of course. More than happy. Come on. And as the three of you hop in the back of the cart, he whips the reins and begins to head down the road up a slight inclined slope towards Summer's Rest past the guards. And he says, sort of turning around every once in a while to look at you, he says, all right, so tell me exactly what your plan was back there. You try and... I heard the whole thing, by the way. I was maybe 10 feet away from my cart. But, let's not focus too much on that. Your goal was to make 3 shiny rocks, and then without a cart, like they had specially requested, you were going to try and sell those 3 rocks to the guard, I'm just...
I told you we should have stolen the fucking cart.
Or I just want to point out that we were doing perfectly fine until Desmond started talking.
That is absolutely not true. You were ruining it. I had to pull the fucking buffon.
No, that was not. I was doing perfectly fine. I was about to put the rock in her fucking hand.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna...
Tribe of Gawada Hardy.
I'm gonna stop you both right there, please. Please, cut it out, all right? Listen, I've been doing what the 3 of you tried to do for a really, really long time. Really long time. And while that was a shit show back there, not just because of you, was it Desmond, but, I think with all due respect to an older charlatan speaking to younger charlatans, there's a lot you have left to learn. But, that being said, it wasn't that bad starting off. There were a few missteps, but I think with some real training and practice, you could learn how to swindle any guard from here all the way to the Council of Yggdrasil and back around, all right? But listen, I don't mean to come off as a know-it-all. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I can tell good stuff when I see it. And the 2 of you plus your quiet companion right there. You got good stuff. You have what it takes to really swindle and charm and get your way through any situation. Just a slight issue of who is talking and when. Only thing I'm going to say right now is when you go into it with a plan, you need to make sure everybody's on the same page and there's no unnecessary improvisation, right? See where the chips fall and then hop in if you need to. That's the only thing I'll say right now. Don't want to give away too many trade secrets. So, you know what? Let's just get to Summer's Rest. And then, if after this 5-hour cart ride we have here, if you still want to learn something, you can hang around. I don't blame you if you don't want to, though. How's that sound? Take you to Summer's Rest.
Why are you helping me at all?
Like I said, the three of you have something good going here, and we could make a lot of money. But there were a few missteps that could have landed all of you in prison for who knows how long for lying to guards and trying to sell false goods. I don't have a problem with selling false goods. It's getting caught. That's where the real issue is. So, you know, I want to help you because you could be good at this. All three of you could be unstoppable at this. Plus, I've picked up a few other more delicate processes, so my charlatan business has kind of fallen through the roof. So I'd love to have that alternate income source, which the three of you could provide, and I would only take a meager 10% of the earnings you gain.
I personally prefer to keep the silver in my pockets and not on my tongue, but whatever you say. Sure.
One yes. Can I have two more, please?
I'm not agreeing to anything. Just get me in there.
All right. Solid maybe. And you, my young, silent, and brooding companion, what about you?
I just need to get to Summer's Rest. I'm not looking to have any kind of side hustle or to do anything that could get me into prison. I have a family I need to support, and I have a business that I'm already trying to support, and I can't afford to take any risks with that. So,
Okay.
I'd just like to get the Summer's Rest. And I thank you very much for saving us from that very stupid, idiotic plan that I can't believe I participated in.
Oh, fucking shut up, Poe.
Okay. That's fine. I completely understand. So I'll get you to Summer's Rest and then go our separate ways. I get it. No problem. And he kind of chuckles and then he whips the reins again and you pick up the speed a little bit, clacking along the road. Incline going up, and you can see the rushing rivers off to your side and the monstrous cliffside that goes up so far until it's almost shrouded in cloud. You can't even see the top of the mountain anymore, being this close to it and on this constant incline up. So, making your way through, you eventually begin to pull up on an area, and you can see that there is a small campfire off the one side that's still kind of burning. As about this point, you've been traveling for another 4 or 5 hours, and he hasn't really said anything since you all declined his offer pretty honestly. He hasn't really said anything since then, and he's just been really quiet, maybe laughing every once in a while. But at this point now, it's almost sundown, maybe night. You know that you're maybe only an hour away from Summer's Rest. And I'll go ahead and swap you here. So, as you all are cruising along, you can see the cliffside sort of dropping off where there is this large rolling river and a collection of vines that are sort of dangling down from that cliffside. And a small campfire that is slowly embering and blazing. He sort of looks off to one side and stops the cart. What? Huh.
What is it?
Well, you know, I most of the time, people sometimes stop here along the way if they need to give their horses a rest, but typically it's only carts making their way up, but there's no cart there. I am sure it's nothing though. As the cart is stopped, the three of you sitting on the back, he looks over the corner and, real quick, I'd like the three of you to make a perception check.
What?
Hope that natural 20 was worth it. So, you, Poe, you look around and you don't really see anything. You're focused on the fire and honestly, the river. You start to think about how that river is probably how your stream, that water grinder, gets so much force and pressure. And it's actually kind of interesting you get caught up in that for a moment. Desmond, you don't give a shit. You're just so annoyed right now. Cecily, though, as you are sitting in the cart, resigned again, but you look out into the forest and you see someone move. You see a shadow sort of dancing around the fire, clinging to the trees. And you see it, and you hear Druin. Fuck, I think I saw someone. Shit. And as he goes to, like, whip the reins on the cart, before the horse is even able to lift off and go, there is an arrow that flies from the forest, slamming into the neck of the horse as it and just slams onto the ground, wheezing in pain, the arrow sticking out of its neck as the cart kind of begins to shake and fall over, tipping all of you out over on this side of the cart. For some of you, almost sending you off the cliffside, as you're just sort of tipped over now behind the cart. And with that, you can see these individuals who have sort of doused their skin in red paint, wearing these red robes, sort of emerge from the forest, and they're chanting, "The Dragonborn must die! The Dragonborn must die!" And sort of like cutting into their wrists and arms, moving towards Desmond. And with that, I would like everyone to roll initiative. So, Evan, since you haven't done this yet, the best way to do this is to click on your token and then click initiative on your character sheet.
Thank you for saying that because I would have forgotten.
Yes.
What?
I am rolling utter shit.
Dude, you're telling me. God, dude, these guys do not like you, Desmond.
Apparently not.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they really are not feeling the whole Dragonborn thing.
Yeah, you should cut that out.
I don't know, you were really gung-ho about it earlier.
And when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't.
It might work now. You can try it out.
Okay, so we have them, and we are going to go... Did everybody on here? Okay, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and here. We're going to sort numerically descending. Okay, so then the only other thing we need to do here is to hit that, and that, close out of that, and hit that. And there we go. Alrighty, so starting off, we have Druin, who is like knocked over, just sort of hiding behind the carcass of the horse. You see him reach into a bag and pull out this huge, like, heavy crossbow, and he just sort of sets it up on the carcass of the dead horse, just like lying prone, lines up a shot, and fires. And that is a 22 to hit this guy right here, closest to him that he can just barely see, peeking through the forest, and that is going to be 10. So that is 11 points of damage. Minus 11. So that first one that was right here, just beginning to run out of the forest towards all of you, is just before you can even make it out. Druin just fires a bolt, slams into the throat, pins the cultist to a tree as he's just sort of like, as the blood is just squirting out from his throat, pinned to the tree. And that is the end of Darren's turn. Or Druid's turn. Okay, so then we have that one who died, and we have this one who is going to make a mad dash for Desmond. Yep, it's going to be able to run right up there onto the cart and just...
So popular.
So what now?
I'm so popular.
Is going to run up to you and is going to brandish this, like, jagged blade and try and slam it down at you. So let me go ahead and roll for an attack. That is a 10 to hit. I believe that's a miss.
Yeah.
So he brings up the dagger, slams it down, and you're just able to duck and dodge out of the way. And he looks down at the other two and Druin, and he says, "The Dragonborn has companions. They must die as well." And he just goes to stab wildly, completely missing, not even trying to hit anyone, just wildly thrusting the blade. So, that is their turn. Then we have another one who is going to run up to, can only get to Druin. It's going to move up there, and it's going to go ahead and roll for an attack. That is also a 10 to hit, excuse me, which is a miss. So, Druin is able to sort of roll out of the way as the blade is jammed into the dead horse's body, and more blood kind of squirts out, and Druin is sort of, all right, hey, calm the fuck down, jeez. Ugh. And that is the end of their turn, and now Cecily, it is your turn. Sort of flat on the ground, just your head is kind of dangling off as you can feel the slight bit of hair just hanging loosely after like maybe a 70, 80-foot drop to water.
Well, fuck. So a lot of firsts today for Cecily. She's never been in combat before in any sense of the word. So I think I'm just gonna like plop over here behind the cart, like crouch down and scramble over behind the cart as much as I can. And I am going to yell, "Desmond, what the fuck did you do?" And other than that, I think all I'm going to do is ready Shocking Grasp in my hand. If anyone comes close enough to me, then I will pounce on them. But
okay.
I don't think she has the courage at the moment to go out of her way to fight these terrifying tree people.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Alrighty, so that is the end of your turn, holding that action, just sort of charging up that electricity, and you prepare in case anybody runs towards you. And with that, I actually believe running up towards you now is this guy right here. He says, "Yes, the companions must die as well!" and runs up and is going to go to thrash, but you get to, like, react and just, oh, yeah, nope. So you react and you try and grab him, and he just knocks you out of the way and then goes to stab you, which is also a first for Cecily, which I'm sure is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's going to fucking hurt.
Ooh, that is a 17 to hit.
Too high, actually. No, I'm kidding.
and that is only 2 points of piercing damage.
Oh, that's enough, though.
Yeah, as it goes to cut, it doesn't actually make contact with her skin, but the pure amount of stamina that it drains to have to dodge out of the way, you already feel yourself beginning to be drained of stamina to the point where you don't know if you can take another hit like that, or if you can even dodge again. You're panicking, you're shaking, you want to scream. Okay, so that is the end of their turn, and now Desmond, there are 3 of these weird screaming individuals just trying to cut into you and these people you're traveling with. What do you want to do?
Okay, is there a way to make it to, like, 2 diagonal to the right squares up? How do you do the little, like, dot thing?
Oh, you, hold and click, or hold left click. Yeah.
Like, around there? Without getting... I know I'll probably get an opportunity attack from the guy right in front of me, but, like, if I can get right here...
Yeah, I'd say you could just sort of... He's prone, by the way, so that makes it a little bit easier. You can just tiptoe over his body.
Okay.
So yeah, you could get over there.
So
he will take
okay, and then I'm just gonna launch my breath weapon diagonally through these 3 people.
So real quick, does a 14 hit from the attack of opportunity?
14 is my AC.
Okay, so that does hit. Ooh, that is 6 slashing damage. So he actually does slash at you in the back as you turn around to run, but as you make your way around, you just... Better luck next time, kid. And you unleash a bolt of lightning. And what's that, a dexterity saving throw on their end, or...?
Yeah, it is a dex save, which is 8 plus... It's only a DC of 9, but...
Oh, it should be like 8 plus your proficiency plus...
Is it
con.
plus proficiency? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you're right, okay.
So 12?
So that would be 12.
Okay.
No, 11? My con is 1, so it's 3 plus 8, so 11.
Okay. All 3 of those fail.
Great.
Yep, a
And then
1,
it's
an 8, and a 5.
2d6 lightning damage, I think. Yeah. So, is there a way to...
Yeah, there's like a dice roller. So on the far left-hand side, there's like that list of things. There's a
Right.
d20 on there, and you can click 2d6.
Oh, I did that twice back then.
It's okay. Oh, yikes. Okay.
Whoops, only
Out
2
of,
points down.
out of pity, I'll take the second one, because that's
Okay.
sad. So -3 to each one of them for a total of like 9 damage. That's not that bad, though.
And then I'm going to shout excessively, my lightning didn't miss!
I don't know. No response at the moment. If anything, she responds with. So.
She just screams back at you, and you're like, "Oh, that's right. She's 14. She's never been in something like this."
Hey, I turned 16 in a month.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. She's 15. And she's never been in something like this before. Okay. So then we have this guy right here, who, let's see. Desmond is more important, so I was gonna run up to Desmond.
Oh God.
And is going to go ahead and make another scimitar attack. That is a 13. That's a miss, right? Your AC is 14?
I'm blessed.
Okay, so 13. You dodge out of the way as the blade slams, and it would have pierced right through your chest, but you dodge out of the way and return back to your default position as he is like just screaming and just frothing at the mouth, talking about how he's gonna rip your scales off and feed them to the great chromatic queen, and you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? So then we have this one right here. Actually, Poe, what's your dexterity modifier? Oh, that's
One.
right. It's not very good. Your dexterity score? No? Okay, so he is first. So he is going to... Oh, well, he actually can't get to anybody. Well... Yeah, he can go ahead and run next to Druin, and is going to go ahead and make an attack against him. That's a 10. Wow. So with that, sort of slams down near him, and he's able to roll out of the way, dodging it completely. And then, Poe, we come to you. What would you like to do?
Yeah, during all of this, while you guys were blasting lightning and stuff, I was unwrapping seaweed off of one of the longswords that I had packed with me. And I get that out and just... Okay. So the person that's right next to Cecily, probably... Yes, this one.
Yeah.
This one, probably this one. This one's a little bit more threatening. I'm going to go up to them, I guess right here. And I'm going to take a good swing on them.
Okay. Are you raging, or are you waiting for that?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
All right, go ahead and roll your attack.
Okay, so do I just hit the weapon on this?
Yep, just click longsword. Should roll automatically. Yep. Okay, that is a hit, and then in order to roll damage, you're going to click in the chat, not on your character sheet, but in the chat, you're going to click longsword. Holy shit! You... you swing and you just... Huh?
I didn't know I had it in me.
Yeah, something clicks, and you're not sure if it is the long line of Anoa warriors behind you, or this is something you always could do, but as you swing with two hands, chopping in, you just lop into his shoulder and slam maybe 3 or 4 inches in as he screams out in pain and falls over dead onto the ground. As Cecily, you are just like sprayed with a little bit of blood as it just sort of explodes out. Poe covers you in it, and Cecily, you just get flicks of blood over the front of your face.
Scream, holy fuck.
Okay, so now coming up to the 20, before it is Druin's turn, you hear these like yips and cries, different than the screams of the cultists, but there's like coming from above you, and you can see these very pale-skinned individuals with like red bloodshot eyes grabbing onto the vines that are dangling from the cliffside, and they just begin to slide down it, just sliding down the cliffside, and they jump across on to the road right here. So let me go ahead, and they started right here. Let me move all of them to the token layer. They are like sliding down, and they go to jump across. So what I need from them is I need 6 acrobatics checks. So let's just do 20. Okay, so that is... Oh, shit. Okay, so 3 of them end up missing their jump, and they just kind of fall into the water.
That's what we need.
Yeah, and they splat, and jumping from 400 feet into water, they just splat and they die. However, 3 of them are able to make it, and 1 jumps here, here, and 1 actually gets right here on the edge of the cliff. So, let me go ahead and roll their initiative real quick. Starting at the top of the round. Initiative and initiative. Okay, very cool. So then that is all sorted, correct? Yes, okay. Ooh, not very good though. Alrighty, so Druin just sort of looks as he's now flanked on both sides by 2 different, very obviously, like, manically insane people, as the one pale-skinned individual with the bloodshot eyes, and they're different races too. It's not just like drow, what you would expect to be. It is like, one is a human, one is a dwarf, and the other one seems to be like a half-orc, where they have like that toothy maw and these huge bulging muscles, but they just are screaming about the Dark One. The Dark One will consume you. The Dark One will consume all. And you now are surrounded by these 2 different things that are screaming nonsense, and you're way out of your league, and you like, what the fuck? And Druin is even like, ugh! And he's just gonna shoot a crossbow bolt with disadvantage at the new one who showed up. However, that is a what would be a 12, and that's a miss against the dark one, and just the bolt flies up and slams into the rock and clatters down into the water below as he misses. So then we have this one right here, who is going to run up to that other one, and is going to be like, no, this is our prey, and is going to slam at them with an attack. Whoa. So we got that. That is a 9. That is a miss. So they slam in with this curved, gnarled blade, but that Dark One cultist is able to move out of the way, dodging quickly and dexterous, able to completely avoid the attack. So that is the end of their turn. And then this one is dead. And then we have this one right here who's next to Druin, who is just going to... seeing that there's this other person close, is going to move around here. Yeah. Right behind you, Desmond. And for a moment you panic, thinking like, oh fuck, is this it for me? Am I done? And the other one, they run behind you and they go to attack this person who just landed catty corner to you, shouting, "You will not take the Chromatic Queen's prey from us!" And slam, and tries to attack with another gnarled blade attack. That is a 14. That is a hit. And that is 6 points of slashing damage. You see it lash into this individual, and you're very thankful it did not hit you. As it cuts in to that individual, and he just begins to bleed profusely, looking back up at the other one, and just begins to shout this very cruel, dark language that none of you have ever heard at that individual. And even the one cultist holding the blade just begins to like grab at their head and shake, just hearing the language uttered. Okay, Cecily, it's your turn.
If I got prone, could I get under the cart?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm noticing that they're fighting each other. Through my sheer panic. I think I'm just gonna go prone and just all over there.
Okay, so yeah, you can see there are those almost like fencing that is about 10 feet, or it's about 4 feet tall, but it's like a solid, thick log that just kind of goes across the way. So yeah, you could definitely crawl over there and get behind. So
that's 25, and then that would be 30. And can I just like get right there, like right behind it?
Oh yeah, go ahead and make a stealth check for me real quick though.
Brag, but I got a +4 in that.
Okay, so you are... I mean, it doesn't help that you're already wearing like a sort of a stained white tunic as you were just crawling against the mud. You stick out a little bit against the greens and grays, but you get there and you think you're at least covered. You don't know how well you're hidden, but you are at least covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then that was movement. I'm still kind of crouched there. I think spray has a range of 10 feet. I think I'm at the... Yep, it does.
Yep.
I'm gonna notice that Desmond is kind of swarmed right now. And I'm just going to kind of look at my hand and just kind of... Please work, please work, please work, please work. And I'm going to try and shoot poison spray at that guy right there. So it does work, but he needs to make a con save.
Okay, is it a 10-foot like cone? Isn't that what it is?
I think it's just 10-foot reach. Yeah, you extend your hand toward a creature you see, and then the
Oh.
creature must succeed a con save.
Con save? Okay.
So I can just kind of, it's like a puff cloud that I can shoot up to 10 feet away
Okay, gotcha.
at one person.
Okay, that is a failure because that is a 4. So go ahead and roll your
15.
damage. Yeah. Get it.
I don't know if it'll do it for me since it's a... Okay.
2 poison damage.
All right. I bothered him.
You can see him as you the poison sort of wafts over to him. There's a strong wind current that seems to take away most of the force of the poison spray. Eventually, it does get to him, and he does inhale it, and he wasn't expecting it, so he coughs, but he is able to expulge the poisonous gas from his face and sort of waft the rest of it away. All right. So then we have this person who is dead, and then we have this Dark One cultist who is right here next to Druin, who's just gonna not be doing so hot. So he is going to take a slice. Slice. That is an 8. That is a miss. So slashes at him, but just Druin, the ever dexterous roller, is able to kind of roll around on the ground, dodging the blows from the sword. So then that
He's playing Dark Souls.
yeah, he's been playing a lot of Dark Souls. Okay, Desmond, it is your turn. What you doing?
Okay, I am going to use my action to disengage and yeet on out of here. And I will just 5, 10. I'm gonna get into the woods.
Okay.
Hope that I have cover.
Yeah, I'd say you have like half cover, just being surrounded by the trees and
Right.
the brush around you. Alrighty.
And then I'm gonna whisper, "Thanks, Natalie." And that's it.
Okay. Alrighty, so then we have their turn, who is going to see you run away and try and make a slash, but you just duck out of the way. And he's going to... I'd like you to roll a d4 for me, Desmond, and even he chases you odd, he goes after the cultist. Alright. He's coming after you. Into the forest. And he is going to make a Schleisse against you. Alrighty.
Does Cecily get an opportunity attack?
Actually, yes, Cecily would, if you wanted to, like, well, yeah.
I will try to shocking grasp his ankle.
Okay. Alright.
Just because I'm still kind of prone, so I'm just gonna kind of like, and just see if I can trip him with electricity.
Okay. Okay, roll your damage.
Nice.
This is really... Oh, God.
That's really sad.
Still trying to get the grasp of your abilities, and when you were angry earlier, it fit so well, and you conjured so much, but now being frightened, you go to reach and discharge, and it's just a... And as you go out and grab him, he did not know you were there, but now he's going to stay there. And he's going to sort of kick your hand off, and it's going to say, "You will learn," and is going to make an attack against you instead of Desmond.
Better me than Desmond. Me.
That is
if he gets less damage.
15 to hit.
That is a hit.
Okay. And then that is 3 points of slashing damage.
Yeah, that would have knocked me unconscious.
Better get her backup characters out.
Yeah. No, Mark is thinking it's good that I took that hit instead of Desmond. Cecily is thinking, fuck Desmond. What is happening? Why am I gonna die now? After becoming a sorcerer last night? This is bullshit.
Okay, so that is the end of their turn, and then we have this guy who's all alone now, is going to run up next to you, Poe, and is going to go ahead and take a short sword slash against you. That is a 16 to hit. Does that hit?
Yes.
Alrighty. And that is 4 points of piercing damage. Alrighty, so slashing into you, you sort of reel back from the pain, and you see this weird, very pale, bloodshot eyes creature just beginning to cut and lash into you. And that's the end of their turn. Then we have this one who is going to attack the cultist. And that is a 13, which I believe is a hit. Yes, it is. And then that... Oh, wow. Is that... Ha! 6 points of damage. Okay. So with that, the Dark One cultist just sort of reaches their short sword around and lops it into the waist of the ones who were chanting about the Chromatic Queen, and just sort of pulls it out, and you can just see, like, blood and guts just begin to pour out of the stomach as he tries to grab and is screaming at his stomach, just... And the Dark One just grabs onto the head and says, "Welcome to the darkness, child," and then slits the guy's throat. Cecily, you hear, but you think it's best not to look. Desmond,
Yep.
however, you can see it, and it's... fuck. It's pretty gross. So, then that is the end of their turn. And, yeah, this one is just going to make another strike at Druin. That is a 12, which is a miss. He's so good at being on the ground, which is crossbow, just kind of rolling around. Another miss on him. And then it comes to Poe. It's your turn. What are you doing?
Well, kind of freaked out that I just killed someone for the first time, and then some crazy thing that jumped across the river came up and took a swipe at me, and it hurt real bad. So I'm going to turn around and, still in like somewhat of a shock, I'm going to swing at it too.
All right. Roll for an attack. Oh, yeah, that's a hit. Alrighty, 6 points of slashing damage. Pretty good. So you twirl around, slashing into the creature, cutting once again into like the shoulder, and they're able to deflect some of the pain, but you still create a sizable cut in the arm as they're not able to dodge the entire attack. And you can see them. The darkness will greet you soon enough. And they are just manic and crazy. So, anything else, Poe?
No.
Okay. Alrighty, so then we have the Druin's turn, and Druin is going to throw his crossbow off to the side and pull out a dagger, and looking at the cultist in front of him, is going to say, "You know what? I've wanted new skin in my collection. It's been a while." And he's going to reach the dagger up and slice, and definitely angry. That is a 17 to hit, and that is... oh, wow, that is 9 points of damage with a dagger.
Wow.
Yep. Which you can just see him lash the dagger into the guy's throat and just begin to, like, cut and carve like carving into a turkey, just slashing down, cutting into his chest, and then just kind of reaches in and like rips open. Yes, it's been too long, and you can see him just jamming the dagger in, and you guys are, what the fuck is wrong with him? And at about that moment, all of you can hear these horns, this, and you can hear the gallop of horse hooves coming from the south. And as all of you turn around, you can see about 7 mounted, like, knights rolling through, and just with lances and long swords and shields, they just begin to ride in, slamming and trying to cut down any of the people that they see that are actively like brandishing weapons, and they seemingly go around hitting you, but the very obvious like crazed people they slam in and they cut into and killing most of them. However, you can see Druin, he sort of brandishes dagger and twirls it around in his fingers, like erratically watching. As you can see, his hair is like unkempt, and he's just ready. And you can see the knights begin to dismount as they sort of move towards all of you, and they begin to shout out, "Arrest them! Arrest all of them! Get him! Grab him!" And you see Druin, he like twirls the dagger around, and he tries to cut at one of the knights, as the rest of you are being grabbed by these individuals. And like thrown, tied up with chain, and thrown onto the back of horses just completely against your will. And with these individuals, it's so hard to really do anything against them. And Druin, you can see, slashes into a couple of these knights, but eventually they disarm him, grab him, and slam him in the back of the head until eventually he's down on the ground, and they're able to like hog tie him with chain. And the one knight who has like the horn at his side, he takes off his helmet and he looks down. "We finally did it. Finally caught the Red Skinner. Gods, give us mercy. Take them up to Summer's Rest and throw them in the prison for aiding a serial killer. By gods, have those leathers burned. It's human skin." And sort of looking in disgust as the man who you now realize is the Red Skinner, which, Poe, you kind of freak out for a moment because most of you don't really know who that is, but he was kind of like a legend or a myth, a horror story that you would tell young children to get them to not go out at night, because he would find younger people traveling along the road or traveling outside and offer them to join him in his escapades, and then as they were sleeping he would kill them and skin them and form them into the leathers that he would wear in battle. And all of you were just arrested, apparently for aiding a fugitive. All of you chained, thrown onto the back of the horses as the knights begin to ride up towards Summer's Rest. All of you realize that you are headed to prison. So with that is where we're gonna end tonight's session.
Wow, we're really this is a very level 1 way to start. It's really everything we did, we were overwhelmed and out of our element.
God damn.
Cecily just had a very bad day.
2 very bad days. Well, aside from the beignets.
Yeah. I mean, God. Violence, prison, murder, having to rely on people. That's the worst.
Woo, yeah.
I got to make your shiny. At least I got to make your shiny rocks.
There you go. At least you don't know that there's some weird cultist group that wants to kill you because of racism or something.
Yeah, it's a big mystery to you.
That was a hate crime right there. Yeah, I just... That... Jesus Christ. This guy was asleep, apparently. Is that's awful.
What was that? I missed that.
That guy was gonna kill us in our sleep.
Oh, I mean, yeah, probably.
Okay, so I have a question. I don't know if you can tell me this. Probably. So that cart that was left there with the leather, was that his?
Yeah, that's his car. You guys were...
If we would have stolen that and used that to get in, maybe Poe is right about some stuff.
Yeah, Because, you know, the one thing that I like to stress in my worlds in particular is that, like, being a level 3 hero is a big deal. And, like, most of the things that, like, are out in the wilderness are very dangerous and very bad. And there's a lot of whack-ass shit happening. Which is why most people travel with 5 or 10 mercenaries or a retinue of knights. So...
I guess that, like, it's kind of emblematic of the fact that there's a ton of crazy shit out there. That means there's a lot of other people who are, I don't know. I guess when you're level 1, you're not the only heroes of the world. There's quite a few of them out there, probably doing stuff.
Yeah, like most guards and mercenaries are level 1 to level 2. You know, like that normal people can afford. But this was also an anomaly, so...
Jeez. Wow.
But yeah, there you go. There you have it. So, for all of you who made it to the 2 hour and 45 minute mark, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And check back next Saturday when session 1 of the Salamander Coast is uploaded. All right, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.